Thank you for coming in today for the work session. We have several items in curriculum instruction we want to share with you before we get too much farther into the school year. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Kathy. She's going to present, and then we will. I'll close out with some calendar information. So, Kathy.
Good afternoon, board members. How are you?
Good, how you doing?
First thing I want to share with you this evening is the new legislation that is referred to as Senate Bill 500, Math Placement Parent Notification Letters. North Carolina Senate Bill 500 legislates that when practicable, local boards of education shall offer advanced learning opportunities in mathematics in grades 3 through 5, as well as advanced courses in math in all grades 6 and higher. This requirement applies to students in grades 3 through 12 that score at the highest level on the end of grade or end of course test, which is a level 5. The attached parent notification letters will be sent to parents of all students that this applies to. So I'm sure that you board members know that we give the COGAT at grade 3 and again at grade 5. This legislation has helped us to identify students who, as a result of the end of grade or end of course test, have scored a level 5, but may not be identified as AIG. Those students are entitled to advanced mathematics placement. And with Ms. Weipert's assistance, we have been able to get those students placed appropriately in math classes for them. These are the letters that go home to parents, and you have a copy of those. Dr. Larry Chappell is the person who oversees advanced placement mathematics, and we will get these letters out to principals just as once you all don't have any questions about them. Are there any questions?
How many?
I agree.
How many?
Yeah.
That's what my question too.
So, at the high school level, we have, let's see, 14 students in need of NC Math 1 honors. We satisfied that requirement this year by allowing those students to be placed in NCPTS Math. Now, what you need to understand is that if a parent does not want that for their child, they just have to put that in writing that they don't wish for their child to participate. At the middle school level, we had 14 students that were not identified as AIG that were offered this advanced math placement. At the elementary school level, we had 123 students not identified. Now, some of those students could have been nurtured students along the way. They may not have been identified in math, but they may have been nurtured through AIG. So those parents had to be notified, have been notified as well.
So for the elementary school, how would you move those kids, doing the AIG math?
Well, we just give them advanced math opportunities. So we would serve them in that way. In high school, of course, it's different. You would take advanced math classes if you chose to.
So it was
123.
That would be the role of the AIG
Specialists.
specialist at the elementary level with the small group. So, Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, these children were already, this was put in place when school started. We wanted to make sure you knew what was going on with these children, because it is an opportunity for us to identify some more students that are AIG moving down the road as well, or possibly, but this is something we need to be looking at, particularly, in when you get in the high school level with the advanced math classes as well.
So, and I know you probably don't have these numbers, but so in elementary school, how many students do we have that places that had a 5, not just the ones that were not in the AIG class, but how many that just had a 5?
Ms. Burgess, I have that number for every elementary school.
I did, that's why I asked.
Yes, we have a list of all the students, thanks to Ms. Weaver, that were already identified, and then the number of students that weren't identified, that scored a level 5. And the interesting thing about this to me is that a student could score a level 5 and not be identified AIG, and may never be identified AIG. Because they might not score level 5 again. So, and a student who's AIG may not have scored a level 5 either. So it really just depends on the student. Yeah, just depends on the student. And a lot of times with elementary students, it depends on what they've been exposed to in those early years. Any other questions? I'll share my list with you, Mr. Burgess.
All right.
All right, so the next document that I want to share with you this evening, the next board memorandum, is the Read to Achieve summer camp results. Read to Achieve summer reading camps in Randolph County Schools were held June 14th to the 30th at Hopewell, Liberty, New Market, Ramsor, Randleman, Southmont, Tabernacle, and Trinity Elementary Schools. The virtual summer reading camp was provided to students enrolled at the virtual academy. Now you will see the charts below that show the data from the 2022 summer reading camps. In 2022, a total of second and third grade enrollment was 405. The 2022 second grade enrollment was 207, and the third grade enrollment was 198. Third grade students who took the Read to Achieve test, 154. The percentage of students who passed the Read to Achieve test was 13.6%, 21 students. The number of third grade students who took the comprehensive camp assessment, 156. The percentage of students who scored a 725 Lexile on the CCA were 9 students at 5.8%. Are there any questions about the Read to Achieve summer camp results?
Board members, to put in perspective, the last time, I think, when I was looking at notes, the last time we had summer reading camp as we knew it was 2019, because it was canceled 2020, and 2021 it was combined with the summer program. So I pulled some numbers from 2019, and the total second and third grade enrollment then was 313. Now back in 2019, we also had grade 1. But if you remember back in the spring, when Kathy brought this, she and Lynette Graves, there was concern about being a staff grade 1, and so we did not offer grade 1 this summer. But I look at these numbers, and 21 students passed the Read to Achieve test. This time, it was 28 in 2019. So it's, the numbers, the overall number's higher. It differs a little bit by grade, but the success rate is very similar.
So when I see it says 154 took the assessment, that's out of the 198 that were enrolled, is that right?
As third graders, yes.
Yeah, the second grade
Okay.
doesn't take them.
So second grade doesn't take it.
Right, that's what
It's
it-
just, okay. So just,
Let's do
for whatever reason, just we had 44 students just didn't take it then.
I guess they may be the ones that didn't finish, right? They may not have finished the camp. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
I don't know what
Yeah.
you,
They might have been absent on the test day and the makeup day, and they also might have been attending on a good cause exemption, which would have allowed them to meet the Read to Achieve reading requirement. They could still attend camp for free, but they would not have had to take the Read to Achieve test.
Right.
Other questions?
Is the attendance rate usually pretty good, I mean, for the whole camp.
I would say it's pretty consistent. I don't know how good it is, but the students who do attend consistently. And I think that, as you ask that question, you look at the results and you think, that's not a very
Yeah,
good
'cause I know
result.
how it is, like, kids sign up for it, but not what they think it is, or the
So
parents,
what's-
and
Get busy and
a
do
week
other things.
or so into it, they bow out of it.
Are you ready to move on? Next thing I have for you is the high school SAT, ACT achievement and participation comparisons. In the 2022 school year, the average total score for the Randolph County Schools was 1082. This is 5 years of the SAT testing results. An increase from the 2021 average total score of 1077. Also in 2022, the average total SAT score for North Carolina was 1130. This represents a decrease from the 2021 average total SAT score for North Carolina, which was 1147. It's important to note that in 2021 and 2022 scores can only be compared to the scores reported in 2017 due to the major changes that were made in the structure of the SAT that occurred in 2016. We had 85 students take the SAT in 2022, which was an increase from 74 students who took it in 2021. The school system's participation rate has decreased from 389 students in 2018 to 287 students in 2019 and 260 in 2020. But it's important when you think about that decrease in numbers to know that the ACT is a part of the accountability model. The SAT is not. And we promote students taking the ACT over the SAT more. Now, there are students who still take it because they want to look at the comparison between the two scores. This report contains data from the last 5 years of the ACT testing, 2018 to 2022. We have offered the ACT to all 11th grade students as a part of the accountability model. I just talked about that. The Randolph County School System has initiated and maintained a strong focus on preparing students for the ACT. We give high schools money every year that they can use towards preparing students to take the ACT. Our goal is to prepare students to be college ready, and that will remain a focus of all of our high schools. Preparation for both the SAT and ACT begins in the 9th grade when students first enter high school. In your packet, you will find the achievement participation comparison summary for the SAT and the ACT. The SAT is broken into parts. The reasoning test, that data is on page 2. And you see it for 2018 through 2022. Then you have the number of students taking the SAT, that's the participation rate that has gone from 389 down to 85 students. If you look on page 4, table 1, you see the SAT reasoning test average scores and participation rates. And you have each of the schools listed there for every year. Of the Randolph County schools with 10 or more test takers, each had a school SAT score average over 1,000 for the 2022 school year. The Randolph Early College High School had the highest composite average score of 1204 for the 2022 school year. Wheatmore High School, of the traditional high schools, had the highest average composite score of 1132. If you look at Table 2, it shows you that 3 of our 8 high schools tested more students than the previous year. Those schools were Providence Grove, Randolph Early College High School, and Southwestern Randolph High School. Page 6 shares some information with you that I think is telling. Many college board tests, such as the SAT, are taken by groups of self-selected students. Therefore, aggregate results of their performance on these tests usually does not reflect the educational attainment of all students in the school or district. And we talked about the redesign of the SAT in January 2016. Page 7 gives you some information about the ACT performance. Randolph County Schools has initiated and maintained a strong focus on the ACT. The ACT consists of 4 multiple choice tests: English, mathematics, reading, and science. Table 1 shows the average ACT scores and participation for the 2018 through 2022 school year. Randolph Early College High School had the highest composite score average in the district with an average of 21.2. And you will see the tables that follow that show you over the last 5 years what the composite scores are, what the scores are for each of the tests on the ACT. Are there any questions?
I want to say thank you to Kathy and Meredith for getting this data together. There's some interesting trends here. There are some very interesting trends. Number one, we all dealt with the SAT for so long. And I think there's a clear connection to the fact that children are getting the ACT for free as 11th graders. I believe there's a direct correlation there between the number of students. It's amazing to me, even at going up, Kathy, by, what was it, 9 to 85? Was it even going up to think that in 2022, we only have 85 students taking the SAT system-wide. But when you look through these charts on the ACT, the number of students tested, if you go back and you look the last 5 years, just comparing 17, 18 to 21, 22, there are a lot of, there's several schools with negatives in participation. Looks like about four or five of them of the high schools. So, I attribute that to our system having decreased the student enrollment over the last couple of years. I think that's going to turn the other way, but you never know when that bubble of enrollment goes up. And then if you looking at the composite score, you see some different trends as well, but nothing big either way. Whether it's a negative, there's a negative 2.2 at one high school right now from 17, 18 to 21, 22 in the composite scores. So got a lot of work to do, but it's some interesting data. I did notice that the state's participation rate has gone in a negative direction, as has what we have right now with, if you compare 17, 18 to the latest state data, statewide, the composite score, the ACT, is going backwards as well. So we got a lot of work to do, but I just don't think I ever thought I would see the SAT be that small. I mean, you've seen it going down, but 85 kids system-wide.
I remember talking about the last couple of years, how it just
Yeah.
keeps going.
And it's got, our kids and they're taking advantage of a resource versus going and paying for the SAT. I don't even know what the SAT costs I can't remember what it costs individually, but for a student to take. But at any rate, thank you for this data, Kathy and Meredith. I think this is very useful data for us to watch moving forward as
Just curious, why do you think, why did the state not release the 1920 numbers for the state?
You mean back on that summary sheet?
Yeah,
Well, I'm curious, we also missing,
that's what I'm talking about, the 1920.
oh, the 1920.
Yeah, I know they hadn't released this past year, but they skipped that whole 1920.
Code.
Keep going.
Well,
I know that's why, but, I mean, let's, you know, but why?
I guess the curiosity is we were able to get the individual school system data.
Yeah. I mean, we know why they didn't test them, or why they didn't release it, but,
I bet we weren't in school. Were we in school?
But we haven't for the schools.
we have, for the schools, we don't, the state didn't report numbers, but Randolph County reported numbers.
They stopped requiring them in 2021, though, didn't
University stopped requiring.
they? Yeah, but 2020, they still require.
That may be a connection there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But on the flip side, this was something I was asking this week today. In recent legislation, the state took the legislation that UNC system has taken the qualifying score from 17 to 19. And I can't remember what year that was, it was in last year or
March
two.
2020.
Yeah, it was, so there's all kinds of pieces to the story right now, but what we gotta do is we've gotta get our students moving forward and we will, and continue to use the resources the board gives. I think it's $5,000, Todd, we give every high school, the board asked well before my time for every high school to have to use for preparation, and so, and Kathy had mentioned that earlier in her comments, so, we'll get moving. We don't have a choice, we have to get moving for our kids and for their futures.
Okay. This is my favorite report. This is the graduation statistical information, because it talks about the achievements of students. Attached is the 2022 graduating class statistical information regarding the students' intentions after graduation. 1,027 diplomas were issued, 8 certificates. Mid-year graduates accounted for 75 of the total diplomas. And these are students who fast-track themselves, get ready, want to get out of school a semester early. They are mid-year grads. We are seeing more and more mid-year graduates. 278 students are going to public and private four-year colleges. 443 are going to community colleges or private junior colleges and trade schools. 33 students are entering the military. 277 students are entering the workforce. 54 students indicated their future plans are undecided. In all, 756 students, accounting for 73 of all graduating seniors, are planning to pursue further education. That's pretty good, 73%. The total amount of scholarship money awarded to the Randolph County School System graduates pursuing further education was $29,789,251. And if you look at the charts that follow this document, you are able to see by school, first by system. You can see the breakdown of where students are going and what they are, what their future plans are. If you look at the North Carolina High School Graduate Survey, you'll see information about which kids are going where versus males versus females, the different groups of students. By ethnicity, you will see that. The next document is the Randolph County High School scholarship totals. Dr. Gainey and I have talked a lot about this report. It's as good as what is reported to us. Counselors give us this information. I noticed when I looked at this that the early college didn't have any military scholarships this year, and they have had military scholarships in the past. Of course, they don't have an athletic program, so they wouldn't have that money. Wigmore didn't report any athletic scholarship money. UARI doesn't have athletic scholarships, but they didn't report any military money. Are there any questions about that report?
One of the things too, board members, and I remember this, when I was high school principal, we had a thing called senior assembly, and that's when we presented all scholarships. And everybody does similarly, I've been at people's in a year, but the schools only have what, and I can still remember every year walking out and some parent, you know, saying, you didn't recognize my child, and we might, you know, put out there for weeks, if you've got a scholarship, bring us so we can get you on the list. So, we're, as Kathy mentioned, we're, as a system, at, you know, kind of at the mercy of what gets reported to us. I will also tell you, I guess I'm not violating any confidentiality. Mr. Boyle, I think you were the one when I interviewed for this job, that, and maybe you weren't, maybe you remember this, maybe it wasn't you, but I think it was in one of the interviews, you mentioned, what are we gonna do about scholarship money for our kids? My memory was it was you, but that's, this never left me. Oh, that piece has never left me in over the 10 years. I will say, Kathy and I are concerned that it was down to 29,000, but it is up 6,000 from where it was last year for 2021. So maybe we're back on the, moving forward there. We got as high as 43,000 in 2018. So we were on a steady increase. I think there's a lot of scholarship opportunities out there for children, and I'm gonna guess that there's a lot of stuff that the schools nor us received during what's been going on the last 2 years. But I don't think it's any lack of effort on anybody on our end or anybody's intentional not reporting, but we're gonna continue to work on that to get that number back where it needs to be, which is with 15,000 kids, we need to be upwards of 40,000 moving forward. We'll get there.
It looks like a lack of effort to me when you look at Trinity, 215,000, and you're 6 miles down the road, pretty much, then you have zero athletic. I mean, it looks to me like somebody, how you would think, freaking high school could get something on athletic scholarship. Whole high school with all the sports, and I'm not
Good
surprised to be.
sports, good teams, good teams.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you got Eastern, Providence Grove,
Zero.
Randleman, I mean, I get that, those, and, but somebody's gotta help those kids to get those scholarships, you know, and I think it's, I think that's kinda disappointing when I look at Wheatmore. I mean, I'm a little, Southwest should be doing better too, but you would think, I'm not sure, I don't know who to blame, if it's football coaches not working hard, or ADs, or guidance counselors, what do you think, Fred?
I don't know, I don't care, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't mean it bad, I just
It
said,
sounds
I
like.
hate that, no, I hate that report. I've said it for 6 years, I hate that report.
I
think
know, I
it's
agree.
misleading.
It is misleading.
And not the athletic side of the military, but academic side, you know, it is, if I'm offered a scholarship by this school and this school and this school, you add all of them in there and you throw them all in there. It's just like saying I was offered a job out to pay $50,000 a year from 3 different companies, and say Fred was offered a salary of $150,000. Something didn't really work out right there. So I think it's misleading. I think they should report the actual what you took rather than what was
What you
offered.
offered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
It'd be
I
way
understand why
down.
we do it, and it's fine. But I'm gonna say it every year as long as I'm on here, so.
But don't you think it'd
I
be
would
way
love
down?
to see that,
It
if
probably
we could
would.
actually
Needs to be back.
survey the kids when they're 28 years old, 10 years later, like, what did you do?
5 years.
Yeah, or, yeah, 5 years, whatever, you know, how many of them graduated, how many of them still owe student loans or whatever, you know, so that would be one that,
It's an interesting report to look
I
at.
know.
When you look at it over
It is.
I
time,
know.
it's a really
Yeah.
interesting.
And your
Don't
point
you
well
think,
taken.
Fred, honestly?
There are,
no, I
That's
agree.
poor, isn't it?
there are, but also, you know, I think it's also, the other side of it is, that's just how the reporting's always been done.
I know.
And I think the military column is quite
Yeah.
intriguing to me. I always like to see the numbers in the military column, because it's special and but, you know, I did reiterate, you know, I can only go over my past experiences as a high school principal. You know, you want the kids to tell us what they got. And, that's not how it always works out. As many times as you might announce and ask kids, they may not always report. So there are some numbers there that there may be some things that could fill in that just never got reported to school staff.
That's the,
Thank you.
I think it does, if someone in the public sees that, a lot of times it's like, just take the academic from Providence Grove, I think I think their graduating class was 180, something like that. You know,
See the low.
just in the academic side, 4.5 million, divided by 180 means every kid there got $25,000. Even the ones that didn't go to school, that's what I'm saying, and it's just misleading. Someone, you know, who's got a kid in elementary school goes, there's plenty of scholarships for kids to go to school on. I don't need to save for college, so, I don't know.
But
That's
there's a
why I
lot
think
of,
it's-
there's a lot of scholarships out there, but it does take time. I just had 2 graduate, you know, and it takes a lot of time. It's a lot of essays and it's a lot of time, and
Well,
I think we just have to keep encouraging students to
and to
write
that
the essays
point,
and do it.
there's a lot of scholarship money on the university campuses
Yeah.
that, you know, people, I don't think people realize that on those campuses, in those departments. And quite frankly, I'm not sure those get caught up in, because sometimes the kids learn of those, I would think they may learn of those after graduation, you know, and during the summer. But, there is a lot that's on the university campuses too.
So we've done something this year that we've not done before, is that we take one collection of all the scholarships at the end of the school year, and before we do this report, we go back to the school counselors to see if there was other monies reported before we actually compile the report. So we'll continue to do that, so that we can have as accurate, records.
If you're, well,
Big scholarships, I don't want to
Yeah.
give away the third part. There's some years I've had 20,
but that's, yeah,
and most years it ain't but 3. Apply for it. I mean, no, it ain't big money, but.
there's talking about how some scholarships are wasted. I mean, Gary was talking about them. So if you get like an athletic scholarship and somebody sends you $1,000 from Jim Bob's painting, what they normally do, they just take it off your athletic scholarship. Now they reduce your athletic scholarship. So that's a tragedy too, why that money gets just took away. Once you send it, all this money doesn't get used. People don't realize they got good intentions, but sometimes you get, the money just gets reduced as that other scholarship, the school just keeps the money. So that's something people don't realize is happening. What can we can't fix that at the local level.
Are there any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Waddell, thank you. So board members, appreciate, your time letting us bring that information. Obviously, there's some, closeout information from 2022 on several of those items. And, that math placement item is very critical, moving forward for, children, making sure we have them in the right places for, math and in line with the legislation. The last thing I want to share with you today is if you look at your board events, the first item up there, that board meeting December 12 was originally December 19. It's been moved to December 12. Looking through there, this is the remaining board meetings for the 22-23 school year. Remember, December 12th, we have our, what's called the annual board meeting, reorganization meeting. And as you go, we'll be down in the spring before you know it. We have some big events that are, if you recall, we moved Teacher of the Year banquet to the fall. Retirement banquet's May 11, employee recognition night is May 15, which is aligned with that board meeting. And we will have the employee recognition event during the work session time. One other note, January 9, the work session will be with the commissioners. They'll be over here for our joint meeting on January 9. So we'll be talking about budget ideas for 23-24. So I did want to point out, I know I'd sent you an email about a week ago or so, maybe a little farther back, about December 19 being moved to December 12. So that's really the only change to this, other than stuff that has occurred already and we moved back. So Mr. Cook, that's all we have to share tonight. We'll be ready
Let
for
me ask one
the,
more question, are we, I asked Sharon just while ago her opinion too, but we had principals and people down here, are we gonna try to do anything, you know, get back, as we get back to normal, like the, Christmas thing we used to do?
probably looking at something after we turn to the new year. We've been looking at something for maybe, January, February. Probably not between now and the holiday break.
Anything else? So your last work session be good?
It's crying, it's crying.
I can't wait till he comes back from the legislature.
He will, he come back. We might not have him back in since he's gonna be on it.
He's
He's
gonna
not
be wearing
gonna remember
socks.
us. He's not gonna
Oh,
remember.
the friendship will end after.
Will he be wearing socks?
Huh?
Will he be wearing socks?
No, I guarantee you, he'll quit wearing socks. He really will.